can you start off and introduce yourself to our site visitors at Pop Culture Madness?
My name is Jared Watson, and I am one of the singers in a band called the Dirty Heads.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're here
No problem.
backstage at Ramshead Live on the tour Odyssey. How's it going so far? It's such a, blending of genres on this tour. I was just talking to Shaggy Toy Guns about, how are the fans reacting to, both styles of music?
Good, I think. I really think that us and Shiny Toy Guns, I think it works well. I mean, we do kind of get played on the same radio stations. It is alternative music, but it definitely is two totally different genres. But that's what we wanted to do going into this tour. We didn't, like this summer, we're going out with the Expendables and Big B, and it's like we can do tours like that a lot, and they're fun and they're amazing, and we love doing tours like that. And it is a night of similar music, which you'd love to go see. Most people, even myself, I want to go to a metal show. I want to go see a bunch of metal bands. If I go to a reggae show, I want to be in that vibe. So you're not going to a festival, but we're going to do a big, Dirty Heads kind of reggae, hip hop, alternative, whatever genre you put us in. We're going to do a big one in summertime. So we wanted to do something different and not do two of the same tours. When we're with bands that are very similar to us. We kind of wanted to have that festival feel where you're going to a night of different types of music rather than just one style.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it definitely opens fans' eyes and ears to something new, and hopefully they can embrace something that they haven't.
Yeah, I'm
before.
sure some of them probably get upset and maybe don't go, and that's fine. But we're trying. We just like to do stuff like that. New stuff is not always do the same thing, and we like to get new fans. Maybe there's some Shiny Toy Guns fans that love us now, and maybe and vice versa. Kind of cross-pollinate bands. That's always cool. And yeah, we just wanted to do something different.
No, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, I was reading about the concept and everything behind the tour, and I definitely thought it was a pretty cool idea. And it's just, it does have that festival vibe, which we see so much genre blending at festivals now. It doesn't matter.
No.
So, I mean, you guys are still currently touring behind Cabin by the Sea.
Yes.
And, how happy are you with the album's been performing?
I'm very happy. I love it. I love, the fact that everywhere we go, we're playing the new songs and everybody's singing every word. And, it got released international. We get to go down to Brazil off of it. So we're going to tour, worldwide off of this album, and I'm just really proud of the album in general. So I mean, we're stoked. We couldn't be happier, and we got a new single coming out, Cabin by the Sea, so that'll be out on the radio, and our video will be coming out, I think, in a couple weeks. And yeah, we're just going to keep touring off it. We have an acoustic album coming up in a couple months. We'll go and we'll do some acoustic stuff off the old album, off the new album, and some new acoustic songs, and then maybe a couple covers. And then, after we finish the big summer tour, we'll start looking into probably writing the next album.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear you. I love your cover of I Loved Rich Girl. And
yeah. We're trying to get that one, yeah.
It was awesome. And you guys did Paint It Black, too. Mm-hmm. So is there any song you'd like to cover that you haven't yet?
We actually are working on covers for this tour, and I'm not going to say what they are, but we haven't hashed it out 100% yet. We have two ideas, and we messed with them during sound check. So in the next couple days, we'll be bringing out a new cover for this tour. We like to do covers, especially when you're bringing other bands out like Shiny Toy Guns, when their fans might not be familiar with you, but they'll be familiar with a really popular cover song.
Right, it's something to relate to, exactly. So I can hear that.
Yeah.
So with Cabin by the Sea being your sophomore release, was there any pressure, like, when you were in the recording process for the album?
Personally, for me, no, because I felt like we were I felt like we had grown so much as a band, and I just felt like we were more confident as songwriters, as singers, as as lyricists, as players. We'd been touring for so long because it took us a while to get that first album out. I just felt like we found our sound a little bit more. So when Cabin came about, like we were ready to go, and I wasn't worried about you know, the success of Lay Me Down or the success of Any Port in a Storm. I was just like, great, if that was successful, I think this should be even more successful, because that was just our, like, we were so juvenile when we started writing that. We were so young and wet behind the ears that after a couple years of touring and having, you know, some life experiences and just some songwriting and meeting amazing songwriters and meeting other musicians and playing with other huge bands that you look up to and playing all these, you know, radio festivals and these, you know, years and years of touring with bigger bands, it was just like there was so much cool stuff that we got to take in, and it was cool that it worked out that way. So when Cabin did roll around, I don't think we were too worried about it. We were just excited to write the music.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what's one of the most important lessons you've learned? I mean, you mentioned that you picked up a lot along the way, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't want to be negative, but to be honest, it was, I really wish that you just can't really trust anybody on the business side of it, other than the people that you keep in your own camp, because we did have this EMG label that we were with was just terrible people, and they did all this cliche, you know, behind the back, trying to steal our money, trying to do this, trying to do that, just ridiculously stupid people that we had to deal with for so long. It's more so on the business side, just keeping everything closer to home. You know, we've been doing it, you know, on our own for such a long time. You know, there's guys like Mac Miller and Macklemore and so many other bands that do it by themselves, but there's such a small margin of success there. We've been doing it by ourselves, you know, on independent labels since, you know, since the beginning after we got dropped from Warner's. But yeah, there's good and there's bad to big labels and to labels in general. But if it was anything I was going to learn or like advice or anything like that, nothing on the music side. You know, I'm always, just because I have an open mind, I don't even think I'm, you know, you're constantly learning when it comes to music. Sorry if this is a long answer, but you're constantly learning when you're playing music, and I don't think you should ever be like, well, I'm done, so now I can give advice, blah blah blah, you know. But on the business side of it, I mean, there's numerous things that we would have done different, or people that we wouldn't have worked with, or, you know, just making sure that all of your bases are covered at all times, no matter what.
Oh no, I mean, I can understand what you're saying with that, because I think they can, you know, sense a hunger in the artist, and then I think that a lot of the labels and business side of the industry are so desperate.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
with their desperation comes greed.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, the artist suffers from that.
Yeah, I mean, what had happened was we didn't even know, what they tried to pull didn't even make sense. It made nobody. Nobody gained from it, so we never thought that they would do some sort of move like that, but they did. So it's like, you know, you're not going to like write in your contract, don't shoot yourself in the foot, but they shot themselves in the foot, and we never thought that they would do that. So, you know, just cover all your bases on the business side, you know, and then just keep an open mind and keep growing on the music creative side.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely good advice, because, you know, a lot of younger bands will look to bands that are more established, you know, as a stepping, so, you know, to kind of learn what worked and what didn't work.
Right.
And, you know, now with, you know, so much being shared on the internet, and, you know, bands, like, people are stealing each other's music, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
So, you know, looking back, you know, from the first album to this album, was there anything you did different in the recording process?
Yeah, the first album was the first time that we were in with producers, so that was new to us, you know, really working with structure and looking how songs were structured, not always sticking to one structure, but just, you know, just working more diligently, just not like, hey, I have 9 cool parts, let's put them all in one song, just wherever we want, you know. That was cool. I think we learned a lot from Stan Fraser and Steve Fox, which produced the first album. And just we learned about having an open mind and, you know, listening to other people's ideas, and actually sometimes when you feel really uncomfortable, it sucks at that time, and you're out of your comfort zone, and you're doing something, or you're singing something, or you're writing something you're uncomfortable with, that's usually a good thing. That's usually a good sign. And it's things like this tour. It's like, some people might think this tour is weird, and that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. What if we're doing something wrong? This is such a, you know, weird mashup. It's good. You're going out of your comfort zone. If you're going to be safe and do the same thing and be comfortable the rest of your career, I don't see, you know, I don't see how you're going to keep going like that because you're not pushing yourself. So I think we learned how to push ourselves the first time around, and then I think we just had a little bit more. Since we learned so much from Stan and Steve, we had a little bit more freedom to produce our own music. I mean, we did have Mario C, and we brought Stan and Steve back in. We, you know, I don't know if I'd ever just want to produce our own stuff, just because it's so awesome to have somebody else's ear, and there's so many amazing people out there that do produce. We just had a little bit more freedom, and we knew a lot more how to write our own songs and structure them and get the bulk of the songs done. Rather than the first album where we were just kind of like pulling our hair out and we know what we're talking about. We're 18, we're 21 years old, we know everything in the world about every songwriting, don't touch our stuff, you know. We just had a lot more open mind and a lot more fun, and you know, we had a lot of time to write, to get a bunch of starts. So we came in with like 30 starts, and then the first album we just wrote them as we were in the studio. We stayed in the studio, but this time we already had so many ideas, 30, 40 starts. Came in, opened the floodgates, picked and chose which ones we wanted, and moved forward with those.
So do you think that, you know, anything that didn't make the cut that you would come back and revisit at a later time?
Those are fun. Those are always fun to come back and revisit, because sometimes you're drunk while you record them, and you're just like, sometimes you're like, that was the fucking worst idea I've ever heard. Why did we even think that was cool? And sometimes you go back and you're like, wow, that actually is really cool, you know? But usually you're so stoked on new stuff and writing new stuff that we don't go back.
Have you ever been surprised by what songs the fans tend to gravitate towards? I know sometimes that you know, may have a strong feeling about one song or another, and the fans are like, no, I like this one instead.
I have already taken my hat off and hung it up for the single choosing what people like as songs. I have no idea. When it comes to our band and our music, I am the worst. Whatever song I think everybody's gonna love the most, it's not. It's like the one that I told. It's the one that I least like. I'm like, oh, that one's all right. Everybody loves that song. I'm like, okay, but it's like if you give me another album, if you give me somebody else's album, I'll be like, oh, that's gonna be this thing. That's the best song, and then it's this humongous song.
Well, I think it's like.
But I can't do that with myself, you know.
It's like you said, having another person's ear in there. To
yeah.
You know.
I'm not judging their music in any way. I have no criticism towards it. With mine, it's just like I'm so critical with our music and what I do.
Your children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and I might like one better because it means something else to me or something. So I'm very, very surprised. There are, you know, some solid songs where you're like, I have a feeling Dirty Heads fans are going to be stoked on this one, and we're usually right. But there's been a couple where they're really, really popular, and you're just like, wow, that's interesting. I love them all, so it's a win-win for me, you know. But I just stopped trying to pick. And, nobody can, you know, nobody knows what's going to be cool or what everybody's going to like now. There's no set way for you to do that.
Oh, exactly.
If there was, I mean, I feel like everybody it'd be
if
too easy, you know.
It'd be good.
Bajillionaires.
So, I mean, you mentioned, you know, at times during the recording process, you know, kind of putting yourself outside the comfort zone, and, you know, when lyrics and things will come out, you know, is it hard sometimes, you know, when performing them and you go back to put so much of yourself out there to fans, like with especially, you know, with the honesty factor?
No, I mean, if you're gonna write something that means that much to you, and then go and I mean, don't release it. You know, if you're gonna have a problem with going out and playing, like don't write songs that are about your personal life or open things if you're gonna have a problem going out and singing. So, and we really do, you know, want to have a positive impact on our fans and new fans and the people that come to our show. So a lot of the times the songs are just about nothing. They're just about having fun. They're just purely bullshit. We just sat in the, you know, studio and wanted to make cool songs. And then other times the songs are very positive and our message is very forward about, you know, positivity and making your life better or just getting through something or stuff like that. So the majority of our music comes from, you know, personal things that we've overcome or you know, had a positive, you know, something positive happen at the end of that whole issue or whatever you had. So we try and do songs like that, you know. And even if we do have sad songs, I mean, we had songs about death, we've had songs about that, but I think it feels good to sing them, you know. Chelsea was a huge song. We were friends really close friends. It was Dustin's girlfriend with these 3 girls that passed away and got hit by a drunk driver, and they all passed away. It was such a huge shock, and we wrote a song about it. And so it is such a sad song to me when I listen to it, but when we play it or when I hear it, it makes you feel better. So I think it doesn't ever get weird or bum me out. It's therapeutic, and you know, if anything.
Oh, absolutely. I know that process can be, you know, just as therapeutic to the artist, to the listener.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Because they can take it in totally different ways, yeah.
Absolutely. So I did hear you mention, so is there a festival you're planning for after this tour, like this summer? What are some of the details of that? I don't know how much we can say. But
oh yeah, I can. We're going to go to Brazil and play a couple festivals down there, and then come back and do. We're kind of taking. We're doing 3 weeks of this tour with Shiny Toy Guns, going to Brazil, coming back and finishing up another 3 months, and then we'll take some time off, record the acoustic album that I was talking about, and then go out on like a 3-month summertime, big old summertime run. You know, headlining Dirty Head show with the Expendables, and I think Big B, if he can hop on, he's a close friend of ours. I mean, they're both really close friends of ours, and it's just going to be such a good time, and we'll do that for about 3 months. I mean, we'll probably hit festivals within that, but we'll be on our own tour with the Expendables for the whole summer.
Absolutely. Well, you guys seem like you've got it pretty well planned out.
Yeah,
we're
really stoked. Yeah, and then after that, we'll try and head back out to international ones. You know, try and get to Australia, Japan, Europe, and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes to speak with me.
No problem. No problem.
Enjoy, and hopefully we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, yeah.